It's time. It's time. A message from Oda. I think it might just be a message. Let's watch it. What do you think of One Piece season? Okay.
ネットフリックスとトゥモロースタジオと一緒に長い間制作に取り組んできました。
Oh my God, it looks so good.
配信された作品を世界中の皆さんが楽しんでくれているようで、制作陣の苦労が報われて本当に良かったと思うし、その甲斐があったと感じます。ワンピースを長年好きでいてくれている皆さん、今回初めてワンピースを楽しんでくれた皆さん、本当にありがとうございます。配信から2週間、とてもいい知らせが届きました。なんとネットフリックスが続編の制作を決定しました。
Season 2!
君はきたち実写版麦わらの国の冒険は
Told you!
まだまだ続きます。
I called it!
脚本が出来上がるまでまだまだ時間がかかりますので、気長にお待ちください。さて、ここから先は麦わらの国の優秀な繊維が必要になってくる気がします。ご期待ください。
What did I tell you? 13 days. There's our boy. There's our boy. He needs to be chubby though. Well, that would be spoilers. We don't mention Robin so that the anime situation doesn't happen. We do not mention Robin because remember what happened to Robin. Remember what happened with Robin for me watching the anime. Okay. Okay, this is exactly what I expected. It's exactly what we got. I am happy. I do not need any more. Season 2 is happening. I think we all expected this. I called this from the moment that the series came out. I feel vindicated. It's great. Look at this little boy. There he is. There he is. Now I just want to see how they're going to do it. People need to start like sketching up ideas how it might look. Because I don't even know how they would make this work. Because CG would be very expensive. Doing 100% CG all the time is going to be very, very expensive. So I don't know how they'd even do it. Robin is easy. Robin is just Robin. And Alabasta would need a big set. And that's fine. But Chopper would be very expensive. Detective Pikachu, but it's Chopper. Yeah, but what was Detective Pikachu's budget? And that was the whole thing was centered around Pikachu, you know? Detective Pikachu had a $150 million budget. And I feel like a lot of that must be purely down to CG. Because CG has gotten a lot better. It's still expensive. I'm imagining the kid from the original Jumanji when he gets turned into a monkey, just slap a hat with horns, and you have. I want to look at what is that? Hold on, let's look into this. Let's start looking for our best boy. Hold on, that's the only thing I'm concerned with right now. Are we sure we want this? He kind of looks like the Grinch. You know? But I think this would be a bit odd. It looks a bit odd. So I don't know if we want this. I don't know, like, you know, original Chopper isn't, you know, like a super cute boy compared to the post time skip, because like, look at this. Remember that in the beginning, pre time skip, he was a bit of a chunky boy. Look at him. He was a bit of a chunker. Just like Momo. Where is Momo? Momo? Momo's nowhere to be found. I don't know where he is. But you know, he was a bit chunky, and then he was made very, very cute. I'll check out Sweettooth instead. All right, let's look at that. Okay. Okay. This could work. This looks much better. This is literally just a kid with horns, is what it basically is. It's just a kid, basically. And I think this would be fine. Because, I mean, I think they need to make him a human. You know, I think they need to make him like 100% human. It is going to be odd, but what else can they do? Isn't that tiny Sanji? Wait, I think you might be right. Hold on. Same actor? It is? I think it is. I think it is. He is. Okay, well there we go. We already have our much anticipated crossover. This is, by the way, this is two-piece. We get, you know, we swap around some characters. This is Sanji. He is actually Chopper. In an alternate universe. You know, this is fine. Yeah, I honestly think this could work. What else could we look at as an example? What else even is there? I mean, let's look at Detective Pikachu. Because I mean, he's just a furball, you know. He looks like you would expect a cat to look like, but you know, just not a cat is how I would describe Pikachu, you know. And I think this would be like the best way of going about it, but I think this would be incredibly expensive. I would want it to be just like a full-blown CG model, but I don't see it happening. Random question, how would you feel if Wapol got Don Creek treatment? I would be 100% on board, because I don't think Wapol is interesting compared to everyone else. I think he's annoying, and frankly, his only redeeming quality is his backstory we get later on, right? With him being the toy maker. It's the only good thing about Wapol. Wapol is annoying. I want to see him beat up by someone. Off screen, preferably. If they do some sort of, which by the way, I figured it out. You know what I think they're going to do with Wapol? What they're going to do with Wapol is we're going to see Logtown. Luffy will escape. Smoker is going to say, I'm going to crush them in the new world. Then we're going to cut back to Luffy. He's going to run into Wapol, obviously after all the, you know, getting into the Grand Line shenanigans. He's going to run into Wapol. We're going to fight with Wapol briefly, just like we did with Garp. And then, we're going to have a cutaway from Luffy, and Smoker is going to defeat Wapol, and ask Wapol, where is Luffy, where is he going? And then he's going to say, they were talking about the princess, or something like that, you know? And then Smoker will be like, oh, they're going to Alabasta. That's what's happening. Clip it and ship it. That's exactly what's gonna happen. I think Wapol will basically leak Luffy's location to Smoker. And if I see Smoker beat the hell out of Wapol, I think I'm gonna have a good day. Because frankly, Smoker in the anime and in the manga, Oda, please, stop nerfing Smoker. Stop nerfing Smoker, make him come back as a Mega Chat. He was easily one of my favorite characters at the start, and then he was nerfed into oblivion. Let's not do that again. Which islands do you think they will skip in Alabasta? That is hard to say, because we definitely need Little Garden. Little Garden is way too important. Little Garden is very, very, very important. And I'll look up what you're typing in chat. Whiskey Peak is kind of less important, I guess. But it also is important because that's when we see Robin. And that's when we get all the lore on Crocodile, right? And then obviously we need Drum Kingdom. And that's it. There's not really much they can skip there. I think they can truncate things, but I don't think they can really skip anything. I wonder if Season 2 will open with Logtown. I think it will. I think it 100% will open with Logtown. Alright, let me look at this real quick. While we're still talking about the best boy. Dark Crystal. This is a series I've heard of, but never actually watched myself. I think there was a new version, and I think there was an old version. I don't know which one this is, because this looks terrifying. This looks very spooky. Is there something better I should look up? Because this looks horrifying. We can't skip Laboon. They would probably combine Reverse Mountain and Whiskey Peak. I think so, right? And that's what I mean by like really truncating these things. I wish they're given 10 episodes is like the biggest thing. Because I think even just two more episodes would be so much. I've seen a lot of people, we can go over this like on Sunday or something with the new chapter. I've seen a lot of people go over like how they would expect the second season to look like. And I think a lot of people do have some really, really good ideas how they could, you know, squeeze everything in. Because all things considered, in terms of big plot points, I think the Alabasta saga actually has fewer than the East Blue. Because I think the East Blue has so many like lore important moments for setting up the cast that are not really in Alabasta by default, because we already know everyone, and we're sort of touching on some things that may or may not appear later on. But at the same time, that's even more tricky, because like, Little Garden and Elbaf, we still don't know where that leads. We still don't know how relevant all of that will be. Let's just hope Oda is involved, and he can be like, listen, I'm not going to tell you what this is, but you must leave this in. Trust me. You know? Short and Whiskey Peak are integrated with Little Garden. Yeah, something like that. I was going to say maybe they'll merge the islands all together, and then we just meet Broggy and Dory there. But then that sort of takes away from their whole, you know, being sent off and just battling amongst themselves, so that doesn't really make sense. Something to keep in mind is that the battles will be a lot shorter, right? We already saw that in Season 1. The fights in live action are very short and snappy. It's like a first hit type of deal. So when you think of Alabasta, you know, in case anyone who hasn't watched the anime, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a scene with a certain someone in the middle of a desert, and you know what happens, and then the certain someone is left in the desert, you know? I think all of that will basically be like, this character pops up, the thing happens, and we move on right away, you know, and then the other character pops up. I don't think we'll have these back and forths basically at all, which makes me worried for the same reasons we were worried with Season 1, you know, because Luffy gets his ass kicked by Arlong, and then he magically beats him later on. And you know, the only explanation there is, well, now he had something to lose, or something like that, you know, like something to fight for. Whereas in Baratier, it was kind of just a, let's fight a little bit. So, I don't know. I think power progression in live action is like the most important thing they need to keep in mind if they truncate the fights, you know? Because in Shonen, a lot of these fights tell a story of their own, and that's why we see the characters grow. I think it should be 2 actors, a kid for regular form, and a big guy for oh my god, that would be so cool! Oh my god. Imagine a small kid playing Chopper most of the time, and then when he pops off, he just turns like into The Rock. That'd be so funny. Oh my god, that'd be great. They need to cast The Rock as Mr. One. The Rock needs to be the Boulder in live action Avatar, and he needs to be Mr. One in One Piece. How much they can afford in terms of budget is the question alone. Drum Kingdom and the Giants is budget killer alone. I think with the Giants, they can be clever. They can just use like perspective a lot, you know, with Chopper and stuff, and with Drum Kingdom and with all that. That's just very expensive. Because I mean, hold on, I want to look at the Lord of the Rings behind the scenes, because Lord of the Rings used a lot of a lot of forced perspective basically to convey certain things. And in one of the oldest Latvian movies out there, they also had giants. So there are ways of making people look giants and not necessarily have to really worry about that much. Hold on, let me see if I can educate you with some Latvian folklore. Okay, a lot of these are unfortunately just close-ups on the dude. Yeah, there's not like a side-by-side shot. Oh, here we go. Right, and this is a movie. This is a movie that is very old. This is a movie that is very old and probably has the budget of nothing. This obviously doesn't look very good. But, you know, this is a giant. And these are small people. Obviously, Bragi and Dory are infinitely bigger. But just the idea. They can use perspective and all these little tricks to you know, play with how we perceive things. So the giants, I'm not that worried about, all things considered. Mother's Basement was advocating hard for Chopper to be a puppet/Muppet. I saw a video about that. We might watch it at some point, because I haven't seen it. I did see people talking about it, though. Yeah, because, like, the biggest thing with this is that they can show the giants by themselves, and they can show the giants from a distance with the characters in the shot. The problem is having characters next to the giant, right? So if we have a scene of Usopp looking at the giants up, that's not a problem at all. That is very, very easy. Problem is when you want to have them like side by side, because aside from that, that's just camera work. You can be very tricky with these things. The problem is how open how open the islands are getting. Filming a tropical island full of dinosaurs, a movie budget, yeah. And then Drum Kingdom with the winter climate, whereas Season 1 is mostly closed spaces. There was nowhere to hide in Giant Island. Well, that's why Avatar shot in the what's it called? It's the biggest soundstage in the world, right? So Avatar, a lot of that was filmed there, and they actually set a world record. Hold on, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay, fine. We're just going to use this picture. This picture is fine enough as is. So basically, what they did is obviously from the outside it doesn't look as impressive, but the inside and filming inside this thing is insane. This is basically just a screen on all sides. The tech is insane. And that's how they got around a lot of this. So they can basically film like wintry scenes especially very easily here. Thing is, Avatar, if you think of like the Northern Water Tribe, a lot of that is relatively chilled. Drum Kingdom is a lot of open spaces. That's a bit trickier. So, you know. As for the dinosaurs I think you can really do. You can have like one of them be relevant, and the rest of them can just be background, you know? And that's how you can also save budget. You can show that they are here by our crew sort of having to fight them, but then they fade into the background. We know they are there. They're always making noise and stuff, but we don't really see them. We don't really feel them. We don't really do anything with them, you know? Something like that. Whatever the case, they will need to be very, very smart with budget. All of this is just basically all comes down to, it's gonna be very hard. Like, no matter how big the series is, One Piece gets wackier and wackier and wackier as time goes on. And like, at a certain point, no matter how many people watch the series, they just won't be able to recoup the cost. Unless, like, you know, the manga company, Shueisha, I believe it's pronounced. I learned yesterday, I believe. Someone told me how to say it. Probably still butchered it. But unless they're like getting involved with financing it, because it's like good marketing for the actual manga series. Still, all of this is ridiculous. CGI environments are probably the least expensive ones. It's the animation that slurps up most of the budget. Yes. I did a good job of changing locations with the setting. More interesting indoor locations, Orange Town, taking place mostly inside Buggy's tent, and Syrup Village taking place mostly inside the mansion. Also a good point. Also a very good point. If they play it smart, they can just hide it, you know? Which, like, think about it, because, like, Drum Island is sort of a tropical island, right? But a lot of it takes place in the middle of what is basically a forest. And if we do that, which, by the way, speaking of Drum Island, and not Drum Island, oh my god, I'm talking about Little Garden. I'm keep saying Drum Island, I'm talking about Little Garden. Little Garden is sort of a tropical location. They can just film in a small clearing and just dress up the background, basically. And it's going to be perfectly fine. But what I was going to say next is Mr. 3 also exists. And Mr. 3 is very important. There's a lot of things, actually, in Alabasta, now that I think about it, that can't be really skipped. The Mandalorian was filmed there. Yes. Assuming they go with Chopper being a kid with antlers, I'm still curious to see how he transforms. Yes. This is, again, I kind of wish they show us one transformation. Rest of it happens off screen. We just know it happens, and then he's in his new form. Because, like, the new form isn't that bad. The transformation is what's going to be weird, you know? Maybe only having fossils and not real dinosaurs. Also a probable solution, yes. Will they cast Ace so that non-fans might believe it's actually Luffy's blood brother? Or do you think that the ship has already sailed, considering Garp is Scottish while Luffy isn't? Honestly, I don't think it matters. I'm gonna be honest. I think most people don't pay attention to it because it's a fictional universe. You know how people make theories that, like... Let me think of the most random thing I've heard in a long time. I can't come up with a good example on the spot. But you know how people make theories based off of hair color, and based off of eye color, and based off of how their nose looks? It's just like the smallest detail, you know? So I think people who sort of want to think about that sort of stuff, they will. But I don't think it's a big deal, you know? At the same time, though, I think the message of like Luffy and Ace actually not being blood brothers, if they do it super early, I think that can also be done. Sort of like they did with Nami, right? I'm still of mixed minds about what they did with Nami's story in Arlong Park, but it does still carry the burden. And if they do the same thing with Luffy, of revealing that they're not actually brothers super early, it does convey a lot about Luffy. But it does sort of, you know, the reveal later on that is actually very important is kind of undermined. So, I don't know. It's one of those things that if they do change, they must have a clear plan. You know, it's not something like, we don't have enough time, so we'll change it, we'll make it simple. But then when we actually get to the reveal when it was supposed to take place, we're like, well, we kind of messed that up, you know? As long as they have a plan, which I think they do, I have full faith in them at this point, let them cook. Let them cook, is what I'll say. At least Skypiea will be easy by 10 million worth of clouds in Morguchi. Skypiea, surprisingly, is the easiest one. Yes. Like, the thing is, they could film all of Skypiea in a literal random forest and just have, like, what are they called? Like, the smoke thingies. The ones that puff out smoke. Smoke machines, you know? And just have smoke going, like, against their ankles and just, like, it's a cloud. It's a cloud. You know? And people would be like, yeah, Sky Island. I think it'd be fine. They could also change the plot to the castle. Maybe it ends with Wapol doing a siege. I think it would be interesting if most of Drum Island actually happens at the castle. And I think that's honestly what we're going to end up seeing. Like I said, my theory currently is that Wapol won't really be involved with Drum Island. But I do still think we need like a chasing force for us to get out of Drum Island. So we'll see what that actually ends up being. What if they get to Drum Island while Blackbeard is still there? I think they could, but I think Blackbeard is one of those names. Remember what I said when I was watching the anime? When you drop Blackbeard, and remember what I said, like, remember what I actually said. I said, if they drop Blackbeard's name and he's underwhelming, I will riot. they didn't underwhelm me. They over-delivered. So I kind of think we need like a name drop of Blackbeard. I think that could be neat. Maybe not. Maybe we don't want to tie in Blackbeard this early. Maybe dropping Blackbeard's name, and that would be season 3, by the way. So this wouldn't even be a pipe dream. Like if season 2 does well and we name drop Blackbeard, we would see him in Jaya. You know? So season 3 would be Blackbeard. So that I'm kind of like, no, let's keep Blackbeard in the shadows. If they're going to make Chasing Marine subplot same as it is in season 1, it will make even more precious time you need to show necessary stuff. Yeah, but I also think it's kind of the question that has always bugged me about One Piece to an extent. So I think having Smoker be that chasing force a little bit, I do think a part of it is budget. Like, put simply, the reason why we didn't get to see more of the main plot isn't because they didn't want to have more of the main plot, is because of budget. Shooting the Garp B-plot was so much cheaper. Like, look at the Garp scenes. Most of them are in Garp's office. So I think a lot of that is budget. That said, I think a part of that is also answering the question of, why is Luffy not facing any Marines? So I think Smoker constantly chasing him, especially with what happens in Wano. You know, it's like what I keep going back to. Why hasn't Luffy been annihilated 7 times over? But anyway, I think having Smoker be there just answers that question. And I also just kind of want to see more Smoker. So, you know. But I do get what you mean. Because season 1 was definitely rushed. And that is my only fear with the rest of the series, is the pacing. Because I do think we're going to see B-plots. That's just how live-action series work, you know. I cannot see how they can squeeze in Alabasta in less than 4 episodes. Yeah. The introduction to Alabasta was like a really enchanting moment in One Piece. Because Alabasta was like the first arc where we landed, and we just explored for a little bit. The start of Alabasta was kind of chill, and in order to sort of, because again, this is still a shonen, I feel like Oda put in Ace fighting Smoker there because it was kind of slow. So we needed a fight there. But the beginning of Alabasta was kind of exploration, and we only then move on. We need an entire episode dedicated to the Kung Fu Dagoons. Yes. Yes. The fact that they came back in a filler arc is still my favorite thing about filler. Big thumbs up. Another thing that doesn't happen with the manga and with the anime because of Oda likes to hide characters, you know? He introduces someone, he hides them for like 500 chapters. That's just what he does. Question is, and this happened with The Walking Dead. Again, Koroto mentions Walking Dead, yes. When you expand the story, as a live-action adaptation does, keep in mind we now have Kobe's actor, we now have Helmeppo's actor, and we now have Garp's actor. All of whom technically need to have some job security, you know? So if we tell them, listen, we did your story, and we're going to need you again in 5 years. For now, we don't need you, goodbye. That is not good. So what I'm more so curious about is how they will handle characters that need to be elsewhere in the world, but they need to reappear. Because this isn't an anime where you can draw them in, and it's fine, no one cares. This is a live human being who needs to film scenes, and also probably needs to change their appearance quite a bit, you know, which a lot can be done with makeup, but some things can't, you know. Like there's the infamous incident of Superman's mustache being CG'd out or whatever, you know. So if the cast really balloons, I'm really, really worried about that as well. Will they kill Igaram and Pel like they did with Mary? I think if they kill Igaram, which by the way, I think this is like something, I'm gonna be very interested in how they handle Robin. You know me, my favorite characters in One Piece, Robin and Chopper, not even close. Everyone else is so far behind, it's insane. But Robin is not a good person before. You know? Like, she is good, but she's also killed a lot of people. She is Crocodile's right hand. How will they explain that to us? Because in the manga and in the anime, it's kind of like, yeah, that's just what anime does, you know? People do bad things, and then suddenly they're friends. It's what happens. In live action, though, it's a bit harder to do. We'll see. We'll see, because if she kills Igaram, and she kills Igaram with a literal nuke, it might be very bad. I don't think they'll kill Igaram. Pel is dying for sure. I think so too. I think Pel is 100% dying. Igaram, I don't think so. I think Igaram might be... I don't know how they do it. Because I feel like what makes Robin's turn so important is when she realizes that Luffy is special. And in order for her to realize Luffy is special, she can't already save Igaram. You know? Like, that doesn't work. If she saves Igaram, she's already like, oh, I'm a good one. And then she's like, oh, Luffy, you're a good one too, well, let's be buddies. That sort of undermines what Robin's story is about. But at the same time, Igaram has never addressed what happened in the manga or anime either, so, you know. Chopper is fine. Chopper has always been the best. Robin, technically an assassin. It could just be the unluckies that bomb Igaram instead. Yes, good point. Good point. Good point. But Robin still needs to show up and she still needs to play mind games with them. I don't want them to basically pull the usual, I am bad, but actually I am good. You know, like, every bad thing that I've done, I haven't actually done it. All the people who disappear and I supposedly kill them, well, I actually sent them to a different island, and now they live happily ever after. I don't want them to do that. Because I want there to have... Because Robin does have a dark past. It's the point of Robin's character, you know? But I don't know. If they mess up Robin, I'm dropping the show. Instantly. Instantly, I'm dropping the show. If they mess up Robin, that's it. That's the end of my coverage of live-action One Piece. Forever. I'm never coming back. Not once. Like, this is... I stuck through The Walking Dead when they messed up Andrea. Never doing that again. Never again. If they mess up a fundamental character, friendship ended with One Piece. She can be showed as someone who killed for survival. She even mentioned it many times that she killed and worked for the strong to survive. Yeah, but you know, there is still, like, she still killed people. At the same time, the first scene we get with Zoro is him slicing a dude open and no one seems to have cared. So I think we're gonna be fine. The fact that they showed who Zoro is very, very openly kind of has me, you know, I think we're in a good place. I think even if we see Robin break someone in half, we're still gonna be fine. Thank you for joining me today. I've rambled on about a 90-second video for 40 minutes.